Have you ever wondered how a flat canvas can transport you to a panoramic view of a breathtaking landscape? This is where the magic of perspective comes into play. Perspective, in the realm of drawing and painting, is a technique used to represent three-dimensional objects on a two-dimensional surface. It's like a secret language, a code that artists use to communicate depth and dimension. When we talk about perspective, we're talking about creating an illusion of depth on a flat surface. It's about tricking the eye into perceiving depth and distance where there is none. This is achieved through the use of converging lines and vanishing points, manipulating size and placement, and playing with light and shadow. The magic of perspective is not just about creating a realistic representation of the world, it's about evoking emotion and telling a story. It's about making the viewer feel as though they could step right into the painting. Artists use perspective as a magical tool, turning flat canvases into windows to spectacular vistas. But how does perspective work its magic, you might ask? Well, it's all about understanding a few basic principles. The first principle is the horizon line. The horizon line is the eye-level line, the hypothetical line to which objects recede, and it's usually where the sky meets the ground. It's important to note that the horizon line isn't always visible, especially in urban or indoor scenes, but it's always there, silently guiding the perspective. Next, we have the vanishing points. These are the points on the horizon line where parallel lines seem to converge. In a one-point perspective, there's one vanishing point. In a two-point perspective, there are two, and so on. These points help us understand the direction and angle of objects relative to the viewer. Then we come to convergence lines. These are the lines that lead to the vanishing point. They give us the illusion of depth and distance. The closer the lines are to each other, the further away the object appears to be. Conversely, the further apart they are, the closer the object appears. These principles might sound complex, but they're really just about understanding how we perceive the world around us. When we look at a road stretching into the distance, we instinctively understand that it's not actually getting narrower. It just appears that way because of perspective. These principles aren't just theoretical. They're the foundation of achieving a realistic depiction of space and depth in a drawing. They're the tools that artists use to translate the three-dimensional world into a two-dimensional canvas. Without them, a drawing might look flat or distorted, but with them an artist can create an illusion of depth and distance, can make a flat surface appear as if it's a window into another world. And isn't that the ultimate goal of art? To create a convincing illusion, to make us see and feel things that aren't really there. Mastering these principles of perspective is akin to learning a new language, the language of visual reality. And just like any language, it takes practice to become fluent. But once you do, you'll be able to express yourself in ways you never thought possible. Now, imagine applying these principles to an oil landscape painting. Picture a scene, maybe a serene valley, a bustling cityscape, or a quiet forest trail. The artist uses perspective to guide your eyes through the painting, leading you down the path, past the trees or up to the skyscrapers. It's not just about recreating a scene from nature, but about evoking a feeling, a memory, or a moment in time. Artists manipulate perspective to create depth and scale, to bring a sense of realism to their work. But it's more than just about realism. Through the clever use of perspective, artists can create a narrative, telling a story through the placement and size of objects in their painting. The perspective in a painting can influence how you, the viewer, experiences the artwork. It can draw you in, make you feel like you're part of the scene. Perspective in oil landscape painting is not just about creating a realistic image, but also about telling a story and making an emotional connection. So, perspective, it seems, is more than just lines and angles. It's the unsung hero of the art world. A silent melody that dances across the canvas, shaping our perception and understanding of the artwork. Perspective is the invisible hand that guides our eyes, leading us through the meandering paths of an oil landscape, across rolling hills, and into the heart of the painting. It's the magic wand that breathes life into a two-dimensional canvas, transforming it into a three-dimensional masterpiece. Perspective is the language of depth and distance, whispering stories of far-off horizons, and inviting us to explore the world within the painting. It's the silent storyteller, narrating tales of distant lands, of sunsets over the ocean, of mountains kissing the skies. It's a tool, a technique, a trade secret that turns a good painting into a great one. Next time you look at a landscape painting, try to see beyond the canvas and appreciate the magic of perspective that brings the scenery to life.